your leader and the head of health and wellness with Life Pro. I'm excited to to share with you today. I've been traveling. I was in California last week working with some professional athletes as well as the general population. And one of my other exciting purposes for being out in San Diego last week was promoting a book that is coming out on October the 10th called What's Next? And What's Next is about it's about inspiring change and impacting your life with health, wellness, and fitness as it is now. And it features about 28 different top experts in the country on different areas in which you can utilize now or learn from, whether you're a personal trainer or whether you're a therapist or you're just part of the general population, just using all of the Life Pro products each and every day. There's so many different things that are covered in this book about what's next. And what's next is about the up and becoming trends, or what's going to be in the vibe, if you will, about what's going to be available to all of you that we have already been learning to master over the last several years. And so what's next is really about what's already happening, but it's giving you exposure and giving you the inside scoop on what is yet to come, in ways of whether it's biohacking into how you can improve your health and wellness as you are doing with Life Pro, because Life Pro is predominantly biohacking, or whether it's nutrition or you're talking about mental health, mindset, children, just the evolution of how fitness started and wellness started, just all different kinds of topics. But there's 28 authors and I'm one of the featured authors. And so I was out there last week to promote and to prepare for this book launch, because the book comes out on October the 10th. And I'm really, really proud to be one of the expert authors of this book. Reason why I'm mentioning it is because Life Pro is actually featured in this book. And between Life Pro and red light therapy, infrared light therapy, whole body vibration, mechanical massage, percussion, so the massage guns, moving or just exercise in general, so the adjustable dumbbells, there's all different kinds of things that are featured in the book. And there's coupon codes so that you can get discounts. We talk about the B3, BFR, blood flow restriction bands that you've seen me featuring in a lot of videos. There's just a lot of great things that are in there. But the book has been kind of put together, and he has collaborated and pulled all of his authors in. And he's one of the top most influential individuals in the entire world when it comes to kind of throwing out what is working for celebrities and professional athletes. They usually are able to discover some of those things first, and then it kind of trickles down to mainstream and people like all of us. It turns out that I work very closely with him. That's actually how Joel and I met in coming together with Life Pro. And so what I'm excited to share is that, Life Pro has a big feature inside of that book. So, and not only that, but Todd Durkin, again, he is the human performance coach, mental coach, does a lot of keynotes for Fortune companies. He is kind of the leader in kind of creating some of those trends and awareness for those trends. And guess what? One of those trends happens to be the light therapy. So we're going to talk about that today. Today is about comparing the LumiCure original device to the LumiCure Pro device. So I've got both of them here, but I wanted to be able to share with you the difference among one to the other, so that if you should be looking at those products on our purchase page with lifeprofitness.com, or you're looking for them on Amazon, you can at least get an idea of what the differences are between those, because there's going to be a price difference. But what makes the Pro better than the original version that came out a year ago? And a lot of it comes down to features and how you're wanting to use it. But essentially, they're exactly the same product, just packed with a few extra features, but the same outcome or same goals are involved with the reasoning behind why they, created the product. So I'm seeing Debbie is waving in from Virginia. So happy to see you today. We are live right now on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you are listening in, if you can give me some kind of sign that you're there, so that I can cater to you and answer any questions you might have. As we're talking about these different things, I want you to feel free to post questions or post suggestions or comments as to how you might be using the LumiCure light therapy torch. And that way we can kind of share amongst each other stories. But if you need advice from me or you need resources, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if for some reason I don't know the answer, because we can't know it all, but if I don't know the answer to your question, then at least I can provide you some feedback as to where you can find some of those answers, or I can make a note of it and then come back to you in another time in the future. And I see Joy here. Joy's one of my favorite people that I see popping in here from time to time. And we got Nancy from Lexington, South Carolina. I tell you what I love, and this is I'm going to talk about this. What I love about right now is the change of the seasons, right? So now we're transitioning to the fall weather. Here in Indiana, it is starting to cool off a little bit. So the trees are starting to change, and it was 48 degrees this morning when we woke up, and it's going to be a high of 68 today with the sun shining bright. And then, of course, down with Denise in South Florida, it is probably really, really warm and probably somewhat in the ballpark of humid. We don't have a lot of humidity here, but living in the countryside, living on a farm, we're getting ready to go through harvest season, which means the allergies are going to be stirring up. We're going to start getting rashes, acne, things like that because of how allergens work through our pores, and in our body is our garbage disposal system with our skin. So as our body is trying to eliminate waste and toxins, it actually uses our skin as a way to eliminate some of those wastes if we are not eliminating it through our waste disposal system, which, through bowels and urination, and sweat. So if you start to see rashes, rosacea, acne, you start to get, instead of the regular pimples and zits, blackheads, you're getting cystic acne, or you happen to notice that you're starting to get little bumps on your arm that are not normally there. That is our body's way of cleansing itself. And sometimes it's in the form of a rash. It means if you get a rash and you haven't made contact with something in the environment, that means there's probably something in your system that shouldn't be there, whether it's been exposed through your skin and your pores or through you consumed it and it's trying to evacuate. Anyhow, one of the great things about the LumiCure light therapy torches is that it actually treats for bacteria and treats for the different skin rashes and autoimmune disease associated with skin challenges. So, but what I love about this time of year is how everything is changing. The weather's changing, the season's changing. Here in Indiana, we have 4 seasons, so we're able to see everything transitioning. The trees are starting to change. Do you know, a little history lesson here, a little science lesson for you, right? Do you know why the leaves turn from green to beautiful shades of orange and red and pink and yellow? Is because the daylight savings, or not daylight savings time, but the amount of sunlight that we experience as the seasons transition, we don't have as much sunlight. And when we have sunlight, the leaves require photosynthesis, which is experienced through the transition of the sun working through the leaves, through the cells in the leaves. And so when we have less sunlight, less daylight, the trees actually start to change colors because it's not able to maintain that vibrant green with the change in the sunlight. And so that's what actually makes our trees change different colors. And as we proceed further into November, December, the trees get less and less and the leaves start to fall off. Unless you're down in Florida where you have all the palm trees and you have all the beautiful succulents and different things, you don't see so much as the change of the seasons out in Arizona or Florida or California or some of those really nice sunny areas where you're more of the coastline and you get a little bit different sun exposure. So going back to that though, the LED LumiCure light therapy torch is about using natural light phototherapy. So photosynthesis is what keeps our leaves green. And when we have lack of sunlight or LED wavelengths, phototherapy, is when our leaves change, but it's also when our environment changes, and that's when we change. So wanted to share some of those little things because I think as the seasons change and we start to go into some different challenges from a hormonal health or from just even mental health, we start to feel a little more depressed from time to time because it's cold and we don't want to go outside. And so we start to experience more of what they call seasonal depression disorder because there's not as much sunlight. Our eyes actually regulate our body's hormones based on the circadian rhythm, which is meant to start when the sun rises. Our eyes are supposed to see the sunrise. And then when the sun sets, it's supposed to insurge the melatonin so that we can go to sleep and we can release the hormones that help our body to heal when the sun is down. But depending on where you're at in the world, sometimes that sunlight exposure changes. And so the less sun exposure you have, that you're able to see it through the pupils of the eyes, stimulates how the brain waves work a little differently. So we have to biohack into that, if you will. And that's kind of what makes some of these different light therapy products so special. So what is biohacking? Biohacking simply means that your body is working a way that it has to based on what we put food in it, based on what we put on our skin, what we ingest, what we breathe, but also what's going on in our surroundings and our environment. And all those kind of things change how our metabolism works, how we release hormones, how we age, if you will. And so if we can change, if we can intervene how our body is working by using different types of technology that's natural, not synthetic, but true natural energy, then we can change how our body actually regulates itself. So that would be biohacking. Biohacking is changing human anatomy, biology, physiology, if you will, by using different products or different resources in order to improve the overall outcome of your life or how you're maximizing your health on an each and everyday basis. So what I talk about in What's Now, and one of the things that I share through exposing LifePro with this book, is we don't have to spend money on products in order to be able to biohack them. You can be outside. I did this a lot last week when I was in California because we don't have a lot of water and we don't have any beach or any ocean anywhere near me. So one of the things that I truly enjoyed doing was walking around with my feet in the salt water and being able to work on, grounding with my toes, but also emotionally, mentally feeling what the air felt like, breathing and smelling what the surrounding plants were like, watching different people having fun and looking at the laughter, feeling the warmth on my skin, seeing the sunrise and seeing the sunset. Because I'm learning that there's not much that you can compare to a California sunset, but I've not been outside much of California to see the sunsets except for some of the Caribbean islands. So I've not been to Greece or any of those other areas on the other side of the world in order to see the sunset, but a California sunset's pretty incredible. And of course, a sunrise over on the Florida coastline is very different as well, because you actually see the sunrise on the horizon much differently by looking at the water. So I enjoyed being able to get out into the water, being able to tickle my toes, being able to feel the sand and gritting the sand and working on those muscles in my feet, but also just using all of my senses. And so biohacking is using, your senses and grounding and nature bathing as the Japanese started in the 1980s to talk about it. So what we're going to talk about today, though, is how you can biohack using the LumiCure light therapy torch. And this one is actually, let me go back here. The way that you're able to tell the difference between these two is the LumiCure original is silver and the LumiCure Pro is black. It actually doesn't say Pro on it anywhere, but they're exactly the same size for the most part in length and width. If you're looking at circumference, pretty much the same. How we access the battery is exactly the same. So we're going to screw off the top. They come with rechargeable batteries and battery charger. So you're going to make sure that the yellow band is facing up. And then when you go to screw on the cap, everything works together, but the yellow is always going to be facing up. And that's a little different than how a lot of other batteries work. Both of them have the charger. The one that I have here, I have a couple of different of the LumiCure originals. I've had 2 or 3 of these. This is the first time I've actually received one that has a plug-in charger for the rechargeable battery. Okay, so it comes with the rechargeable battery pack, and it comes with a charger. But instead of it actually being, this one is the original one that I received, and then it also came with the Pro. If I can get it to open, there we go. So when it comes to charging, this one has a cord, And this one has just the regular self-enclosed plug-in. But they both work exactly the same. This one's a little bit bigger. This one does not fit in the travel case the same, but it still zips up. They both come with, let me go in here. There we go. They both come with all the same accessories. So you're going to get the glasses, you're going to get the pouch, you're going to get a wipe in order to keep the lens or the bulb cover clean. You're getting the rechargeable batteries. You get 2 of those, so you don't have to worry about running out of time. And you get the rechargeable plugins. And then you're going to get the user manual. So exactly the same thing. Glasses really are exactly the same thing. They look a little bit different in color, but they're exactly the same thing when it comes to protecting your eyes. Where they're different is the features as to how many different types of light. So with the original, we have, I believe, 3. So if I go and turn this on, we've got 1, there's 2, and then actually I take that back. Let me go back here. This one I think has 1. I want to double check this because I use it all the time, but I just now am noticing that there's a difference there. Yes. Okay. So I already knew. Yes. So on this one, on the original, you have 3 bulbs. You've got 2 different intensities of red light therapy, and then you've got an infrared light therapy. When you turn it on, it's just one mode, which means it's all 3 are going to light up, and you can look into the light through the screen because there's a block. So you're not going to have to worry about whether you're going to blind yourself by looking. But I do not want to look directly into the light. Not good for your eyes. Okay. So I'm going to make sure and put the eye protection on as I'm looking, turning them towards me, right? Because we don't want to, if you're using it on your cheek, you've got TMJ, okay, or you got jaw pain. If you've had dental work done, this works really well for dental work in that it lowers levels of inflammation. But on the original LumiCure light therapy torch, it's just one mode. So we pop it on and we pop it off. After 5 to 7 minutes, that's all you really need. It will automatically kick off on its own after so many minutes. I believe it's 7 minutes. I'm trying to keep track back and forth between these. But I think, yes, I think it automatically kicks off. Okay, the default treatment duration is 5 minutes. So that was my mistake. So it automatically kicks off after 5 minutes. And the common question that I get from a lot of people is, can I use it more than once back to back in a different area? And the answer is yes. We just don't want you to use it in the exact same area. So if I'm using it right here on the inside of my thumb because I got arthritis in my joint, if that's my scenario, if I turn this on and I'm putting this directly to my skin because I want to get deep, deep, deep penetration of the light therapy, if I hold it there and I hold it there for 5 minutes, then if I'm wanting to use it maybe up here on my wrist, I can do it there for another 5 minutes. You just have to make sure when you use it on different areas back to back that you make sure that you give the tip time to cool off, because after you use it several times, this is metal, of course, it's going to be a little on the warm side. So you just want to make sure that you don't experience a burn, not because of the light therapy, but because of this being metal and it getting hot, because light therapy creates heat. It's creating a healing opportunity from the inside out, not from the outside in. So we want to make sure that we're mindful of that. You can use, both are going to be used the same frequency as far as how many times a day. So if you're just getting started, you want to start for 1 minute, one area, 3 times a day for like a week. You can work up to 3 to 5 minutes in each area, and you can use it in different areas of your body multiple times a day. But the rule of thumb is 3 by 3 by 3, which means 3 minutes, 3 times a day for 3 weeks, and you're going to see a 30% increase in just overall metabolism on a cellular level. So originally, red light therapy, when you are trying to use red light therapy from a global standpoint, we're trying to access as many cells as possible with the greatest amount of intensity of light we can. So when it comes into using the BioHeal, which is the really big light, I got it right here. When you use the BioHeal, this is more global. So you're going to be able to sit this, 6 inches to a foot away from you, and you're going to like you're going to get like a lot of exposure of red light and infrared light to a greater part of your body. And the idea is trying to get as much cellular interactivity with red light or infrared light exposure as you can. The more cells that you can stimulate through light therapy, the better the whole body functions as one unit. Okay. So the BioHeal is going to be used more for global as opposed to just one little spot. And either one of these light therapy torches are ideal if you're wanting to work one specific area. When it comes to light therapy using for fungal issues, yes, there is research that supports that it does take care of fungus or fungi. Not to be mistaken to be the fun guy in the room, right? I always laugh about that. When I was learned that when I was in college, you don't want to be the fun guy, right? There's your laugh for the day. But yes, it is known to make a difference when it comes to toenail fungus. I just can't tell you the intensity or which level of application, but I do know that